Hello again. Welcome to the TNN, or rather, should I say, the USOSA in collaboration with TNN Pro Unitate podcast. As usual, my host, Chioma. Chioma, say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody, and welcome, sir. Let me state that the first time I heard global president, it was him. Now I'm hearing people answer global president. He used to be the only one that I knew that was recognized as global president.
Fantastic. Our guest today is an alumni of the Federal Government College, Ogbomoso, Francis Orbih, currently a barrister at law. He is also the chairman of the Badminton section, Ikoyi Club. I think he held that position for over a period of years. This will link, obviously, Usosa is a part of the founding fathers as well. This will link to our theme on sports and Usosa. Without wasting time, I will give Francis the floor to briefly introduce himself a bit more, tell us a bit of the history of Usosa from his perspective, what he enjoyed contributing when Usosa was being formed, what he thinks it is now, and what he thinks we can do better going forward. The floor is yours, Francis.
David, that's a lot. I was going to say the questions that have been but I'm sure he got all of that.
He did.
Well, if there's anyone I miss, I think you can always try and draw my attention. So yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. Like you've done earlier, my name is Francis Orbih. Finished from the Federal Government College of Ogbomoso, 1983 set, and I went back to do my A-levels and left there in 1985. You have mentioned that I'm also a lawyer by profession, and I've been a lot into sports administration. And you mentioned the Ikoyi Club. Yes, chairman of the Ikoyi Club Badminton section 2005 to 2007. Became a member of Lagos State Badminton Association. That was in 2007. Yeah, 2007. And then I became a vice chairman Lagos State Badminton, and became the chairman Lagos State Badminton. And then I became the chairman of the Southwest. That's from 2013, and that's till today. And then I became the vice president of the federation, and after that I became the president, which I still currently am. I'm also a member of the Badminton Confederation Africa, and a board member of Sport Nigeria.
Wow.
So, and in all of this, I would say that there's hardly any area I've been where I've not come across a USOSAN. On Sport Nigeria, we have Madam Orbih, who is a USOSAN, Queen's College. She's the CEO. And, if you talk about badminton section, there was an evening at the section, and we were having a conversation, and one or two members just talks, was just talking about federal government. I said, which federal government did you go? Say FGC Enugu. Then the next person came, and suddenly I realized that most of the past chairmen, and even those after me, FGC Mina, FGC Kano, FGC. I said, okay, no wonder. This thing runs, in the blood, like they say. So I was not surprised, but it was a pleasant coincidence to find out that people who had achieved leadership position at the section, most of them went to unity schools. So basically, that's me. And I think somebody mentioned I'm hoping to run for election to the Badminton World Federation Council sometime this year. And eventually, I'm also hoping to aspire to the position of president of the Badminton Confederation Africa. I just feel, most time I've put a lot of effort into the sport, which has been out of passion, my love for the sport. And a lot of people always wonder, where did this passion for this game come from? So it was during my father's 20th remembrance, during the documentary, that a lot of people watched it and said, oh, now we see where it came from. So my father played badminton, and as a small boy, I used to admire the game. We just watch. We were not allowed to partake, but we could only watch. And sometimes you go close to the court so that when they mistakenly play the shuttle out, you quickly run to help them get it. But it was an opportunity for me particularly, to be able to have a hold of that shuttle. And I used to be amazed. The shuttle would fly, you hit it, it would change direction, and that used to excite me as a child. So I followed the game as a young boy. I didn't have the opportunity to play. Yeah. And I followed the game. So I was following it, and because I love the game. And then another thing that attracted me to the game then was it was a very elitist game. You only play it with white upon white. If you are not wearing white and white, you can't play the game. And it looks so beautiful, so elegant. So I used to also admire that. So I followed it, and from there, since I couldn't play, all I could do was to read about the game. So I kept reading newspapers. And then for about 10 years, every time I read, there was one name that kept reoccurring. Somebody who was dominating the game in Nigeria and Africa, Samson Ebeyemi. And I kept reading. So I read so much about him, read about all his exploits, how he was dominating, winning, that sometimes I'm amongst my friends, I'll start talking about Samson Ebeyemi. You would think that we were buddies, we were all living in the same place, but it was all from what I read in the newspapers. So fast forward, 1994, 96, I joined the Orbih club. And while I was taking a walk around the club to look at the facilities, I went into the badminton section. I was excited, and I saw on the board, the coach of the section was Samson Ebeyemi. I couldn't believe it. I said, wow. So this same Samson, they say, yes. What days does he come? They say Tuesday, Thursday. The next day he was to come. I was there before 5 o'clock to wait for him. And when I eventually met him, had a handshake, it was like I was shaking the president of the country. Wow. Somebody I'd read about for so many years, Yeah. I was very excited. Eventually he became my coach. And by the time I got a good grip of the game, he coached me, and I became the champion of the badminton section in Orbih club for 13 good years competing.
Impressive.
I dominated. So I think strongly that it was an inspiration. Yeah, it was an inspiration for me, maybe because I read so much about him, and I believe that anything was possible if you were determined and committed. So that's briefly my badminton story, and that's why.
So let's go back to the first question, which was, we know that you're part of the founding members of USOSA. Can you speak to us on that? What drew you into it? Where are they right now? What was it like when you just started? What can we do better?
Well, I won't say I was one of the founding members, because I know a lot of times I listen to the story of when USOSA was founded, and we talk about people like Albert Okumagba, people like Mike Magaji can actually talk about that. People like people like Inya Pabio, people like Nana Ude, they can talk about, because they were there. And I remember when people talk about the first meeting, then it was not called USOSA, I've forgotten what the name was, whether Pro Unitate or some movement or whatever. So, but of course it started, and what got me into USOSA was when I became the global president of the Federal Government College of Ogbomoso Students Association. Before then, Joseph Tegbe, who is a board member, the board of trustee member of USOSA, he was the one, my predecessor, who handed over to me, as president. So he was already, working with USOSA before I became president. And he was the one who used to come and talk about USOSA to us. He was also there, one of the founding members. And so when I stepped in as global president, of course, naturally I had to step in and become a NEC member. And that got me, a lot of people don't know that at some point I was also legal advisor to USOSA. Those are in the early years. And so I got involved, and seriously, I would say what really attracted me to it was the fact that, I realized something. People that went to federal government colleges, unity schools, like we call them, there's something about them that when they come into a place, there's something that makes them stand out. And then the networking opportunities is unbelievable. I've had so many doors opened in so many places. The moment, you went to federal government college, and that's it. Anything you are looking for becomes easy. So I just saw that opportunity, and of course, meeting a lot of people. I mean, like I talked about Albert, Okumagba, and a whole lot, Dauda, Ilya. These were the founding members of USOSA, and I mean, it was quite. So looking back, it was not as big as it is today, and I think it's getting bigger and getting a bit more organized, and of course with a lot of room still left for improvement, no doubt about it. And I think sometimes with growth, if it's not well managed, then you cannot get the full benefits of an organization getting bigger. So I think that might be something that USOSANs will need to look at very seriously, making sure you have the right people come up to leadership positions to steer the affairs of the organization, and then managing that growth. And I'll share something here that personally, I know in those days, early days, I will still call them, when the idea of location-based chapters came up, USOSANs in Port Harcourt, USOSANs in Abuja, I think I was one of those who wasn't very comfortable with it, because I felt it might just polarize the organization, because a lot of schools or students associations were struggling to get their members together. So like my own association, you have set chapters, and from my own experience, you find out that some people are more committed to their sets. They don't want to have so much to do with the global body or the national body, so that the case may be. So I felt USOSA was already there, so all students of whichever school would align with USOSA. Now, when you introduce the chapter-based the location-based chapters, I felt it was going to make it a bit not easy to manage. But today I see it as it's like a movement. Something that is now driving the association. But in achieving that, or recognizing that, then you come back to the point where I made earlier that this growth has to be properly and well managed for the organization to reap the benefits.
Chairman.
Thank you so much. Always enlightening or insightful to hear from. In fact, I was like intrigued by the story of Badminton story, and it just got me thinking. Imagine if the children that we have today in unity schools, how do we get them interested in sports? Because sports is such a beautiful thing, and what do you think USOSA can do to encourage sports in that environment, so that even at young age they become interested in it? And even though you had to do a lot of reading and the passion watching your father play, but I'm thinking, what can we do to ensure that sports is what it is in unity schools?
Well, I think when you want to talk about sports in schools generally, you cannot isolate or take out the unity schools from it. So generally in Nigeria, I will tell you that from experience, sports, especially school sports, doesn't seem to have been able to. Administrators have not been able to sustain the impact. Many years back, a lot of our sportsmen and women were discovered from schools, principals, corps, and all that. But where are they today? Those competitions are no longer there. And that is why we are struggling. The grassroots part of it has been, has not been sustained. So the elite part is struggling to get, because it's from the grassroots that you discover talent that will feed the elite part of the sector. And that is no longer there as it used to be. So for me, like in school, like I said, I didn't have the opportunity to play badminton at the younger age. So when I got to Ogbomoso, because of my passion, I still look for a way. There are a lot of people, when they see me now, oh, president of the federation, say this is something that you took in school then, thought it was a joke. You've been able to take it, to this level. I mean, that was the passion. Even at that time, I still didn't have the opportunity to play it the way, I would have loved to. Then got to university. It was when I got to the curriculum that I really now had the opportunity to play the game. Standard facility, good environment, and of course, with the quality coaching that I got, I just took the game from zero to, I remember when I joined the club, I didn't know how to play. And then the section was populated by Indians. At that time, it was a boom time for Indians in Nigeria. So you have the whole family, father, mother, children, they are all members, and they come to play every evening. So the section was always filled up by Indians. So when you join the Ikoyi club and they ask you which section do you belong, when you say Ikoyi, always say badminton section, they say Bombay. That was the nickname for the section, Bombay. So you go in there, you have majority of members as Indians, and then very few Nigerians that were playing. So, and then I come in there, I didn't know how to play. Yes, I could hold the racket, I could read the shuttle, but I didn't know how to play, really. So when you come in, those that know how to play don't want to play with you. So if you come late, you can't get a game. So what I did then, I decided to be coming very early. So I'll be the first person, praying that by the time the next 3 people come, we'll be able to form a forum and play at least a game or 2 before, because by the time others come, you won't be able to play. So I used to do that. And then one day I came early, 3 Indians came, then we're 4. I thought we would soon start again. We're knocking. They refused to start again. Then a 4th Indian came, and they said I should excuse them. Please, we want to play serious game. And I looked at them, looked at myself. I said, no, not in my country. So I told them, I was here earlier. I came here before all of you. So if there's going to be a game, I must be part of that game. They're not ready to play with. So they moved to the next court. We have 3 courts. I moved to them, to that place to disrupt it. They moved to the 3rd one. Then I went there and I lay on the mat. So at that point, they saw that I was serious. So I disrupted their game because I felt it wasn't fair. But at the same time, I also now thought, what do I do? Am I going to be coming like this every time and be disrupting them? So why don't you try and improve your own game? So at that point, I decided, I told Samson Ebeyemi, come and take me classes during the day when nobody's there. So I took lunch break, 12:30 to 1. I'll come play for 1 hour, have my shower, have my lunch, go back to the office. Now everybody comes to play in the evening. Nobody was seeing me anymore. I disappeared. I was training. Now when you join, you are in Group C, learner. When you get better, they will promote you to Group B. Then from Group B, when you get really good, you go to Group A. Group A are the really good players. So I was barely in Group C when I left and I started doing private training. By the time I came back, I broke into Group A because the coach knew my level and he started saying I should come. And everybody was like, who is this? You just came now. Then I played, and within 6 months, I played my first final in the competition at the club. Nobody believed it. So, and by 1 year, I became the champion. And I held on to that. And I always share with people the experience with, the sacrifice you have to make to attain certain goals. So I was doing a lot of that, spending my money to buy equipment, spend a lot of time to train. And then when there's a competition coming, I'll use the gym, use like I'm going for Olympics. And then my wife would say, you are spending so much time, this, that. She would complain. But over those 13 years, I was champion. I have trophies in my house, over 85 trophies that I won. But beyond the trophies, I won so many electronics, from television to microwave to refrigerators, different things, steam irons. And one thing that was really amazing was whenever I won them and I came home, my wife was very excited to receive those gift items. Bring it, I will put it here, we'll put that. But so one day I asked her, I said, what it takes for me to win this? You're not ready. I mean, you're always complaining that I spend too much time. But when the gifts come, it got to a point my friends asked me if I'd open an electronics store somewhere because I was winning those things every competition. So my target towards my last years of competition, I was making it 3/3 because there are 3 events I can take part in the club anniversary. So men's singles, men's doubles, mixed doubles. So some years I'll win 2, maybe 1 or 2 years I won 1, but towards the end I now targeted 3/3. So every year I was winning 3 events. And until it got to a point my wife said, before I left, she said, let other people win. I said, no, if they want to win, they should be ready to do what I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Okay. So
for me, the question you asked, that what can we do? So I feel like the sports fiesta that USOSA is organizing, it's a good one, even though it's among the old students. But I think from there we can begin to think about everybody thinking about what they can do. I had gone to Ogbomoso, went to the school. There's a hall, dining hall they were building, and I wanted to help them set up a court there. But along the line there was change in I think the principal that I was talking with left, and the person who came was not very disposed to continue with that. I'd already bought equipment, rackets, shuttles, and all that. I wanted to even donate like a trophy that the houses will play for during inter-house sports, so that there will be a badminton trophy and everybody will play. But and then recently, because of the achievements we've had at the federation, quite a number of USOSAs have been reaching out to me that, hey, what can we do? Let's have a badminton, like a badminton tournament or something organized for Unity schools. So I've told them, coincidentally, we have a program called the Shuttle Time, and it's a grassroots program for schools. It was introduced by the Badminton World Federation, and we are really taking it seriously now. So what we are doing, we go to locations, maybe we go to a town, and then we invite like 25 to 30 schools from that location, and they all come to one place, and we have a kind of a coaching course for them. Each school comes with four students and their games masters, and we train them, we teach them for those days, and at the end of it, we donate equipment to them to go and set up the game in schools. It's something we've been doing. We have a partner in the UK who helps us with the equipment. So I'm trying to work out something for Unity schools, so that the challenge is, they are all over the place. What makes the program easier for us right now is that we can go to a city and say, okay, let's get 30 schools within the same vicinity. But if we are going, to bring schools from different states, the logistics of having them come together, accommodation, most of the times, because they are coming from schools from the environs, there's no need for accommodation. You come and you go back either to your school or you go back home. So you come every morning. But if you are now going to come from different states, so those are the extra logistics I'm thinking about, and thinking about how one will be able to navigate around that. But it's something very serious going on. People who are reaching out to me, they say they are ready to commit, to be part of it and all that. So I'm hoping that something along that line will take off very soon.
I've just extracted, sorry Chioma, I'll give you the floor back, but I just want to tell the audience about the value I've extracted from Francis Orbih. When he talks about the sport of badminton, when he talks about his alma mater, FGC Ogbomoso, you can see that he drew or derived a lot of value from Ogbomoso, which has helped in his focus. I'm sure focus was one of the key elements he derived from Ogbomoso, and you can tell that he's passionate about focus. So whatever you're doing, as long as you have a focus on it, you can build yourself up. That's a key value I've taken out of our conversation. He didn't know how to play badminton. He had to learn it. He was determined. He had to learn from a coach who he admired from far previously, became his mentor. Uh, Another value is mentoring. So the professional badminton player mentored him to the level where he was winning competitions. Fantastic. The President General is very passionate about sports. In his opening conversation with us, beginning of the podcast, he did talk of having more sports carnivals. My question to you is, obviously, you've spoken to the fact that you have people who are willing to support. My question to you is, how can Usosans in diaspora support your initiatives, support the Usosan initiative? What value do you want from them? The floor is open to you because you're literally speaking to Usosans all over the world. So here's the floor to you to ask them for the support you require, and let's see if that value can be drawn and that passion and dream that you have is achieved.
Well, I think the answer to that question, or what you are asking of me, you can draw from my earlier statements. I spoke about everyone, going back to their alma maters to see what they can do. Sometime I remember when I was president, I went back beyond badminton now. We went back for inter-house sports, and every time we did that, we bought some trophies and a lot of things. Maybe during the inter-house sports, the students, we eat some special meals different from what they eat, prior and after the event. So we just make it special for them and give them memories. So for me, we can all do that. And I remember there was this Tunji Olobia who ran for Nigeria 100 meters. It was at the Olympics, one of the Olympics. I'm trying to remember which one now. And I got talking to him. He's been able to put equipment together. He's based in the US, spikes for running, because when we went to school then, during the inter-house sports, students were still running on bare feet. And we felt it wasn't good enough. So those kind of initiatives, if you're in a position, some of those equipment, don't mean he didn't buy them because of the level he attained, the height he attained during his years of racing. So he has companies that are ready to donate those things to him, and he's ready to bring them back home. Now, some can actually, by way of resources, putting money together to get some of those things. So, t-shirts, kits, jerseys. Where do you do that? It's very easy and possible to inter-house sports. We make sure we get some very nice quality t-shirt, brand them for all the students, and I'm sure they'll see them and they'll be very happy and excited. Those kind of things can bring out the best of them and motivate them.
Chioma, it looks like the reception has failed us again. So from what he's saying, can you surmise what you think you've got from it?
So I believe he's pointing to everybody going back to their school.
Right.
A game that you're passionate about, you can decide to sponsor. And he mentioned the old student who had to bring the running spikes for the students. So imagine if he's badminton, someone who loves basketball, they set up a basketball court in their school. Imagine if for every game that people love and they set up those what do they call them? Maybe the courts, the environment
facilities.
Thank you. Facility for playing those games. So if even if you're in diaspora and you're passionate about a particular game, you can decide to say, I'm going to set up this in my school so that it becomes a part of a legacy project for the students to benefit from. So I believe that that's where he's heading to call on. That's the kind of support he's saying, that we can all do something, but let's go back to our schools and see what value we can add.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It's
And earlier, so you took the words from my mouth, focus. I was going to mention. So when you said focus, I said, okay, we are the same. The focus, during learning that game.
I hope you realize that I just got back on.
Yes, we do. We absolutely do. So we'll let you continue from where you stopped.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was rounding up to say that the whole idea, how can we impact, is for everybody to just identify an area. It could be athletics, it could be basketball, it could be badminton, it could be football. I mean, you'll be shocked that you go to some schools, even the football to play, they don't have a proper one. And it doesn't take anything to decide to come together and buy a few balls and donate it. Volleyball, basketball, handball, a lot of sports then back in school. But nowadays, I mean, either the equipment are not there or the facilities are not there. And, sports is actually really going down. So I believe that we can still do a lot to revive sports in our old, schools, by coming together and being deliberate. What can we do this time around? Yes, I know we do other kinds of interventions. We go and renovate a dormitory, hostel, we go and renovate a classroom, donate laptops. Very good. But this time around, while doing that, in addition, we can identify an area in sports. What can we do? When I was a global president, there was a project I wanted to carry out. But by the time we conceptualized it, it was towards the end of my tenure. And I realized that if I started, I was not going to be able to complete. So I said, let the next ESCO. When we do a pavilion for the sporting this thing, but that wasn't it. I realized we got to the school, the football pitch was sand or no grass. Because during the rainy season, maybe some grass here and there, but of course, during the dry season, everything is dried up. And believe me, I had meetings with the consultant who was working on the stadium in Osogbo, working on the stadium in Ibadan. I did a lot of work, and I realized that, it's not rocket science. It's not such a big thing to set up a standard pitch. All you needed was a standard, a good borehole, and then now it's getting easier and simpler. Sprinklers. Once you have access to water, regular water, it becomes easy to do it. So your problem now will be making sure you are able to maintain the grass and making sure it doesn't overgrow and all that. So those are things that are still doable. It's something that personally I'm still looking at, So basketball courts, a lot of times they are not. So some sets will take it upon themselves. And then if there's one already that is dilapidated, just let them revive it, renovate it, or reflood it in, and get the rings and the balls and get the balls for them to start playing. And you'll be surprised at how much to bring back that particular sport that was either almost dead or virtually dead in that school. So these are things we can do. Let's set, and then for some of us, we play these sports while we're in school. So let's remember those days and see what we can do to bring back those memories, those students.
Chioma.
Yes, so I absolutely, what he was saying is in sync with what we were saying earlier. If you're passionate about the sport, you can give back by going back to your school to do that. I'd like to take you a bit away from sports, to social and politics. Where are we? What do you think we can do with our numbers? Everybody says we have the numbers. Do you see us doing anything with the numbers? Because our earlier guest talked about policy. Some of the things that stops us from doing the things we want to do is policy, government policy. When citizens get into power, maybe it will be easier for us to share some of these ideas with the country. For social politics, where do you see us?
Well, I've heard this several times, and I tend to agree that the potentials are quite huge. I mean, if USOSA were to be more organized. And that is what I was talking about earlier, talking about the growth and managing the growth. If you don't do it, if it's not well structured and managed, then it becomes very difficult to reap those benefits that will come from the numbers we are talking about. So so the potentials are there, and we've had so many. I mean, we've had this conversation several times where we sit down and say, okay, we've had resources being governors, speakers of the House, Senate presidents, and all that, and that if we are to really take advantage of the values that we got as resources in school, then these people should actually be good ambassadors. So when sometimes you hear some things happen with some of them, and then I remember, what incident it was, and they said, these people went to federal government colleges, and I mean, it wasn't a time to be proud to be a Susan, I must say. And they're like, this person went to this school, and the other person, it means that these federal unity schools are breeding grounds for either fraudulent people or all that. But I believe that if we are better organized, even the association itself can become a check, and a support system for our members who get into politics and get into positions. So knowing that there are people who call and say, hey, how are you doing? Or if you don't seem to be doing well, you have people who you have known, people who knew you when you were a small boy. It's easier for them to communicate with you at certain levels than people who just knew you recently. So they can call you to order. Say, hey, guy, you are not representing us well. This thing is not good. It's not nice. So, but I really don't know how to, to be able to manage that political aspect of it. And for us to take advantage. I have heard people say, if the society were to be a political party, you would have taken over power. I don't know how easy that, to transform USOSA into a very functional and effective political party, to be able to achieve that. But it's possible, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's a function of how well organized and structured, we are able to make it. That's what will make a difference. Like I said, the potentials are there.
Okay, so I've been hearing him talk about structure and numbers. David, could you shed more light on what Alumni Hub can do in terms of the structure, bringing us together, harnessing our numbers for something really great?
Absolutely. Alumni Hub is technology that brings all USOSANs into one house, where you have various. I'm not going to mention platforms, but where you have various association members spread in various platforms. With Alumni Hub, it's a house for everybody, so it can help structure numbers. It can help give accurate data on members. It can help support and flourish the jobs market within USOSANs. It can help develop a marketplace where you can trade and buy, knowing for a fact that the person you're buying from is already vetted. Nobody that's not vetted can use Alumni Hub. Leads to security in terms of fundraising, particularly for the sports you talk about. People are hesitant at the moment because they don't, just like our previous guest said, hesitant because they don't know where their money is going. They can't see accountability for the money. But with Alumni Hub, you can see the accountability. You know where your money has gone. You know how every penny has been spent, because there's a report generated. And this is why the President General has spoken so much about it. The structures better managed, like Francis Orbih has said, The association should be better managed, better organized. Alumni Hub gives that opportunity to be better managed, to have accountability, and to be better organized. And hopefully, with the right leadership, PG is doing a very good job, in my opinion. With the right leadership, then we can start to leverage in terms of education, which is what I actually wanted to ask next. How can USOSA leverage education within the nation?
So when you were speaking now, it just reminded me of an experience. So today, a lot of people talk about achievements of Badminton Federation of Nigeria under my leadership. And I will tell you that if I want to talk about my success story, I cannot talk about it without USOSA, because it's USOSAs who have given me the support and they know themselves. So when I talk of these, I can just mention 3 people quickly. Unana Ude, Sokonye, Omu Obilo. These 3 people, there's hardly any major event I've had which has turned out to be very, very successful that they've not played a major role. And they did that not because they are naturally badminton people, but because they wanted to support one of their own. And they saw the effort I was making, and they just wanted to see what they can give to make it better. And I can tell you that their contribution has played a major role. I cannot talk about my success story if I don't mention these 3 people. And where did I get them from? USOSA. So that is the support system I'm talking about, that we can identify people in different fields and areas. That change of mindset is going to be easier with USOSAs, where people, if somebody I know is appointed to position, the average Nigerian is, it's an opportunity for people to go and make money and get some benefits and all that and all that. A lot of times we don't think, what can we do to support and help the person succeed? In doing that, there's nothing wrong with being in a position to make some money, and nobody, but what is your contribution towards that person's success? And I feel that if our mindset is tuned in this direction, then we'll have a better society and a better country. Now, we talked about education. Well, I'm sure you've heard of so many education summits that have been organized by USOSA, and all these have been trying to see how USOSA can impact, because we all remember the quality of education we had going to these unity schools, and today, those standards in a lot of them are no longer there, and it's a lot of the OSAs that are doing as much as possible to support their school. I remember some years back when we were told the number of teachers we had in my school in LGC Ogbomoso, we almost cried. There are no maths teacher, there's no, And so if there's no maths teacher, what are they doing there? So sometimes we come together and even get teachers, recruit teachers and pay them. The Parents Teachers Association will also do that. So you have teachers on the payroll of government, you have teachers on the payroll of the PTA, you have teachers on the payroll of All Students Association. It's as bad as that in some schools. So for me, those are still efforts being made to leverage and see how we can make things better. But I don't know if those interventions are really, really sustainable. Sometimes, you get people who are passionate about it and they do it. Maybe they're in position, and by the time they go, the next set of people that come might not have the same level of passion. So, we've had conversations in my association where people say, why should we be spending money going to the school to go and put money there when we have some of us members of the association who are not doing well? And I remember during my time as global president, I said the two were very important, just to be able to strike a balance. You can't say because you want to take care of your members who are not doing well, because you will not contribute anything back or give something back to the school where you left. And then you won't say because you want to give something back to the school, you will now not be able to be in a position to take care of your members who are in need. So for me, I'm one who believes in striking a balance between the two. So, I mean, those things come, and like I said, the disposition of whoever is there determines which direction, whatever intervention, whatever assistance you want to give, which direction it is channeled. So I believe there's a whole lot to be done, especially when it comes to education. We've done a lot in the past, summits, but I don't know if the Nigerian Borg, a lot of times you have summits and you have conferences, committees, they come with reports, but at the end of the day, implementation is always a challenge. So you have stack loads of reports, white papers, and this and that. And at the end of the day, what happens to them? They just gather dust. So I think maybe anything now we'll be thinking of doing, we will not just be looking at, what are the issues, identifying them and putting them down, but what actions need to be taken? What are we going to do to be able to address those challenges and issues? I think that's where the focus should be more now, because I can tell you that if it's to identify what the problems are, everybody is an expert. We know where the issues are.
Absolutely, you're right. Chioma, time is of the essence.
It's been insightful,
exactly,
educating, engaging with you, sir. We've learned a lot. In fact, I was going to say that we should put your name on the Hall of Team No Excuse. Listening to that badminton story, there's no reason why a Yusosan should be a failure, whatever they find them. So you focus and do what needs to be done. And I would just say thank you for joining us. But just before I say my last words for this session, I'm just wondering, are you done with serving Yusosa? You have plans to actually come and serve Yusosa? I hope you have not hung your boot.
I don't plan for service.
Why?
I don't plan. So what I mean is, sometimes you might I'm done, or something pulls you out, and somebody comes and say, hey, we think, like during the last sports event in Abuja, I got more involved than I thought I would ordinarily, because everybody was like, oh, you can't be this, and then coupled with the fact that I was given an award by Yusosa because of my achievements in badminton. So that made it more difficult. So what am I saying? It's not like I sit down and be thinking about it. I'm planning about, service. No, I don't do that. But if
so where there's a lacuna, we're going to have you pick up your boots.
If I feel I'm ready and I'm up to it, then I can take it up, give it my best.
Thank you. This is a favorable answer, and I'm happy to hear, sir. All right, David. Are we rounding up for the day?
We are rounding up. Time, unfortunately, we can keep talking. I've enjoyed the conversation. But again, everybody has things to do and it's getting late. We're in Nigeria, I suppose. Mr. Francis Orbih, it's been a privilege to have you on the Pro Unitate platform, the podcast. Again, just to let you know, it's a collaboration between USOSA and TNN. TNN stands for the New Nigerian. It's a platform that was created to do the reverse brain drain, bring diaspora brains back home, see if they can collaborate with the brains in Nigeria to put down development. We've done quite a few things in agriculture, in health, and in social services. But that's a story for another day. We're grateful for you being here. Audience, please don't forget to support the platform, to support the podcast. Visit our handles. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. Click the like button, subscribe to our channels wherever you find us, Instagram included. Every click is a support for us to run the platform. Eventually, we are hoping that even CNN can compete because of the way we will present and the caliber of people we bring to the platform to share value with the audience. Thank you very much, audience. At this point, we're going to let you go. and have a good evening.